On episode 318 of the Tennis Files podcast, you'll learn how to thrive as a multi-sport athlete, dominate junior tennis, and compete at the Division I and ATP Tour level with special guest Benjamin Kittay. Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. This is your host, Mirban, and really looking forward to bringing you an interview with Benjamin Kittay, who's a very well-mannered young man. I actually met him while going to the courts in Cabin John, which is a pretty nice set of outdoor courts somewhat nearby where I live in Maryland. And I was going there for a sectionals practice a couple weeks before our sectionals in Richmond, Virginia. And then I actually saw my former college teammate, shout out to Leaf, and he was hitting with Benjamin, and talked to Benjamin, and turns out that he had actually played the qualifiers at the City Open and is playing college tennis at the University of North Carolina, which is one of the best programs in the country. So immediately figured that it would be a great idea to bring Benjamin on the podcast, and it was really a pleasure to have him on. Some background on Benjamin. He also has reached as high as number 32 in the ITA doubles rankings and finished the year ranked 39. He reached the round of 32 in the 2023 NCAA Doubles Championships. He was also ranked number 1 in Maryland in the juniors, obviously very highly ranked in the Mid-Atlantic section as well. He also has ATP points. He was ranked as high as number 2 by recruiting.net for the class of 2022. Benjamin also won 5 ITF junior singles and doubles titles. He was also a catcher during the MLB lockout, which is really impressive. And as you'll learn on during the interview, and as you've probably seen in the title, pretty amazing how Benjamin has, for most of his life, played both baseball and college at the same time, which is pretty incredible considering how hard tennis players at the elite level train. And now then you put baseball on top of that. So playing both baseball games and tennis tournaments and whatnot, pretty tough, but Benjamin was able to do it. So that's why I think this is a particularly unique interview regarding that. And so we'll get obviously into how he's able to accomplish that, being a multi-sport athlete, also how he's able to dominate junior tennis and then compete at highest levels in college, as well as on the ATP Tour in events, and then some big technical changes that he's made, and then just a bunch of other stuff that I think will really help you become a better tennis player. So hope you really enjoy it. And without further ado, here is my interview with Benjamin Kittay, by the way. So it's all good in case, you need to take a break or whatever. All right, here we go. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. Really a pleasure to have Benjamin Kittay on. Such a great player. It's really funny because I met him yesterday, as of the date of this recording anyway. Saw him at Cabin John Outdoor with my friend Leaf, and kind of was reminded that he played City Open qualies and is a really good player at UNC. So figured I'd definitely have him on the show. So Benjamin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Happy to be on the show. Looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Benjamin. Got a really great impression of you. Seemed like you're a really nice guy and obviously really high level player. And, we love to have the best on here in terms of, great players, great coaches, trainers, etc. So one really interesting factoid that I found out about you when I was doing some research last night is that you were also recruited to play D1 college baseball, which is really, yes, really cool. So tell us a little bit about kind of the dualities of you playing both tennis and baseball at a really high level.
Yeah, so I played baseball my whole life. I played as much as I did tennis, honestly. I played I always played, like when I was 6, I was playing 8U baseball. I always played up in both, but especially baseball. But yeah, no, like I said, I played my whole life, and I love it. I stopped like right before I went to school. I had to basically decide between tennis and baseball for what I wanted to do, but I tried to play as long as I could. And I mean, I played all sports growing up, but yeah, I played baseball and tennis. Like I played high school baseball while training at the USTA in Orlando. And but yeah, no, baseball has always been a huge part of my life.
Yeah, it's amazing. I guess were you able to kind of split it up in terms of the high school because they were like different seasons, I guess, tennis and baseball?
Yeah. So basically, so I'm from Maryland, right outside of DC. But while I was in high school, my junior year, I was training down at the USDA in Orlando, and Florida athletics allows you. So I did online school. So Florida athletics allows you to, or Florida High School Association allows you to play high school athletics if you live in the certain district. So I lived in the Lake Nona district, so I got to play for Lake Nona High School. So basically, what I would do is I would train tennis in the morning at the USTA, and then have baseball practice or games in the night. And I did that the whole season. And then for my senior year, I was training down at Saddlebrook in Tampa,
Mm-hmm.
and I played high school baseball down there as well. Just had to live in the district, but yeah, I was playing both at the same time. I mean, when I was younger, I used to like have Mid Atlantic tournaments in like Richmond and be in the finals on Sunday, and then like I'd have a baseball game Sunday night like in Baltimore, so we'd have to like drive all the way back. But yeah, no, it was a grind, but I mean I loved it. I loved playing many sports as I could. I know a lot of people nowadays are very like one dimensional and playing like only tennis and only caring about tennis. But I mean, baseball's helped me tremendously with hand-eye coordination and like I mean basically every sport I've played. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. You remind me of a book called Range by David Epstein, where he actually like the opening pages talk about Federer, how he played a bunch of sports until he was like I don't know, maybe like 13 or 12. But I mean, all these different sports has helped him become a great athlete. And when I talk to a lot of trainers in particular, they say how important it is to just become again a great athlete. And so playing baseball, I'm sure, has helped you a lot. I remember having Tread Huey on here on the show, and he played baseball as well when he was younger. I don't know if you've seen him at JTCC. I know there's a little age disparity, and he just retired. Actually, had his last match on Sunday. So
no, yeah, I saw him at City Open because he's the volunteer assistant for UVA. So he was actually he was on my court, the guy that I was playing at when we played at UVA this past year. But yeah, I know him.
Wow. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's really awesome. And I guess what was the deciding factor for you in terms of like choosing baseball versus tennis?
So like I said, I mean, the two as much as I possibly could when I was young. But my dad said when I was young, like when I turned 14, I kind of had to make a decision to like go, because it was more, do I really want to be good in both, or do I want to be great in one? And I tried to be like great as much as I could in both, but I really wanted to take the next step in one. So my dad like always said when I was young, like when you're 14, you really got to make a decision of what you want to play, because they're very like contrasting sports. Because when you hit topspin topspin, so I switch hit, so I batted both ways. So like very contrasting. So like when you hit baseball, you want to swing down on the ball, and tennis, you want to swing, with brush and topspin. So that kind of like was polar opposites, I guess. So doing both at like a higher level, faster pitching, faster serving, but faster, like higher level of play was always going to be like difficult. But yeah, no, I mean, I actually first chose baseball. I played baseball at IMG for a couple weeks. I went to go down and play for them for a couple weeks. And then I just decided, I don't know, I just decided to go then play tennis when I was 14. And I went down to Argentina to train. And basically when COVID hit, I was, practicing tennis for the start of it. And I was like, I want to get back into it. So I played, I had hitting lessons. I had catching lessons, and I was, basically playing way more baseball than tennis. But the deciding factor when I went to college, I was a little bit more established in tennis.
Mhm.
Obviously, in my opinion, I know it's like a huge topic, but I know, like, in my opinion, the hardest thing to do in sports is hitting a baseball.
Mm.
And I've done that like at a pretty high level. Like I was fortunate enough to catch during the MLB lockout. If you remember,
Wow.
last year, I got to catch while I was in Tampa. There was a ton of uh, a ton of pro pitchers like Luis Severino, Jose Barrios, like while Casey Mize, former #1 overall pick, and then Aaron Judge, Luke Voigt,
Oh.
Bogarts. I mean, not Bogarts, Devers. They were all hitting. So I was like unfortunate enough to catch like 99 miles per hour fastball and hit against it as well. But back to why I decided. I mean, I was getting like recruited in tennis, and it's kind of what I always wanted to do when I was younger. But like the deciding factor is I was a little bit more established in tennis, and I thought it ended up like it would be the best decision. Plus, I was a little bit better, I would say.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
When you were catching, which again, that's amazing that you were playing at that level at that time. Did you ever mistakenly give serve signals instead of throwing signals?
Yeah, no,
Poach or
I
something?
mean it's tough because I mean they like when you're catching. I mean they have there's so many different spin speeds and everything. Um,
Yeah.
I mean I mean those guys are the best too. I know like the one guy I was catching like the Luis Medina, the top he was top Yankees prospect, got traded to the A's,
Mm.
and that was the first time I really like caught like 99 to 100, and I like was
Mm.
catching, and then they had like the TrackMan that you could like see from behind like how fast he was pitching, and it was like I was like looking at my hand, I was like, oh my gosh, I just caught that. So I mean it's crazy. It's actually crazy how fast they throw.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. So yeah, I feel like yeah, I mean baseball probably just helped you with your throwing motion and hand-eye. And I mean, would you recommend like tennis players who maybe they want to cross train to play baseball, or maybe is some other sport that you think would be even better? Or
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, playing as much sports as I could was, I mean, it's helped me so much, like for like my athletic ability now. In regards to playing baseball and tennis, I stopped pitching when I was 12
Mm.
to save my arm because back then it was, and I'm 19 now, but and back then it was everybody was getting hurt with their arms because they
Mm.
didn't have like the technology with like the arm care programs that they do now in tennis and baseball with like the band work and everything. But yeah, no, I stopped pitching when I was 12 to save my arm. So in my opinion, I would suggest if any like young kid is deciding to play both to not pitch, because
Mm.
if you're wanting to serve, and if you're wanting to do any like other things with your arm, pitching could potentially be like harmful in the long run. So I felt like my dad, who told me to stop pitching, really helped me there. Because in the moment when I was 12, I was like, I don't want to stop pitching. But now, I mean, it really helped me.
Yeah, yeah, nice work from your dad. Yeah, and talking to some trainers too, they mentioned to kind of limit like overhead shoulder movements too for the
Mhm.
same reason that you're talking about. And so yeah, so I mean, with playing baseball, you I think we were talking before I hit the record button, and you mentioned that you had trained for 10 years at JTCC, right? So when did you start training there? Like 10 years or 9 years old or something like that?
No, well, actually, the first time I went there when I was 4, I trained there
4. Wow.
yeah. So when I was 4 to 14, I trained. You know, when Martin Blackman was there,
Hmm.
and he was one of my first coaches, and and then I worked with Ali and Oliver,
Sure.
and of course Vesa
Hmm.
throughout my time there, and yeah, no, they really helped with my development from such a young age.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I've had Martin and Vesa on. As we were talking about Megan on as well. Still trying to get Oliver. I'll get him at some point. But
You got you will.
yeah, he
He's a great
persists.
guy.
Thanks. Yeah, he definitely has. I've met him a few times. So how did, if any, how did JTCC kind of adjust your training? I mean, I don't know if like you did the same sort of fitness regimen as the others because you were obviously playing tennis and baseball at the
Mhm.
same time.
Yeah. So that was always like the one concern, even like when I was about to go to college, was how I was going to manage both fitness
Yeah.
and tennis, like putting on weight, losing weight, being light on the court, but also being like bulked up and with baseball. But I think I was very young, so it didn't have too much of a factor in regards to fitness there, because I was like, as a kid, I was running around. I didn't necessarily get tired so easily, like as you do now and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
um, I don't think there was much of a concern of the fitness side with both sports at like such a young age there.
Nice, nice. Gotcha, gotcha. And then obviously, I'm really curious about your trajectory in terms of your junior tennis, like rankings wise. Like, at what point did you kind of hit the top 5, top 10 in the juniors, and just kind of a general overview of like how that went for you?
Yeah. So I mean, I played Mid Atlantic tournaments, played nationals. I won I won doubles. I think in the 12s, I think maybe two or three times. Hard courts
Nice.
and clays. I can't remember which ones. And made a couple finals. Actually, fun fact, I was one, I think, actually the youngest to ever win a gold ball. I was 12. I mean, I was 10 playing in the 12s, and I won a gold ball with Ferris Khan. We
Nice.
beat we beat him, his brother, and Nicholas Garcia in the final. Yeah, it was funny. A funny story. So
That's funny.
he wasn't going to play doubles, or he was first going to play doubles with his brother,
Yeah.
and then they had something happen, and he didn't want to play. He didn't want to play doubles, or they weren't playing together anymore. And I was trying to convince him to play doubles, like just I was young, I was 10, like he, of course, we trained at the USTA in Boca, but he didn't want to play. Didn't want to play. So we signed. The sign in was at 6. So we signed up. I want to say it was like at like 5:53, and we're gonna play, whatever. And I was like, if he was gonna go far in singles. So if it comes too much in singles, then we'll withdraw from the doubles, whatever. It is what it is. Like, I understand. We win a couple rounds pretty easily. I remember we were in the round of 16, because those draws are so big,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
we in the round of 16, we win quarters, we win semis. We win in 3 sets, because in the semifinals it turned to 2 out of 3 full sets. I don't know if
Oh,
they'll do that now, but we ended up winning a tough match in the semis, and then we played his brother and Nicholas Garcia, and we took him out in 3 sets. So it's a pretty funny story that we like came together so like late at the end, and we ended up winning. But yeah, that was probably one of the most memorable tournaments of my life, just because of like the story of what happened and that. But yeah, no, started playing ITFs when I was 13. Stopped playing USDA, except for like a
mm,
couple of tournaments, KZoo, and like
sure.
the one like Battle in the Berg Mid Atlantic tournament that I had to play to qualify for KZoo.
Mm.
But yeah, I played my first ITF tournament was in the Cayman Islands. I remember I got 2 withdrawals in doubles, so we ended up making it to the finals and getting points, because there was 2 withdrawals. It was actually
Nice.
really crazy. But yeah, no, I mean, I've traveled all over. I mean, playing ITFs, got pretty unfortunate with some of the slams, like one in Australia. I know my high rank was, I think, 41 or something like that. But didn't play that many tournaments in my last year, because I was playing baseball.
Mm.
But yeah, no, I got a little bit unlucky with the slams in Australia. It was one year, it was like the bushfires, so not many
Mm.
people went. And then it got postponed, or canceled, sorry, because of COVID. And then Wimbledon, I didn't get to play. I played once, but I could have played again. That got postponed. And then French Open, they pushed it back 1 week, and I was in the main draw. They didn't have qualies, so I was in the main draw. I remember they pushed the tournament back 1 week, and I was the second alternate, so I would have been the second seed in qualies. But that was very unfortunate. But I got to
Yeah.
play U.S. Open twice, made quarterfinals of the doubles
Nice.
at U.S. Open, and yeah, no, I mean, I played, traveled all over the world. So
Yeah, it's amazing, man. And you're still quite young and knock on wood, have a lot of great things coming up. So I guess in terms of you being able to pretty much dominate juniors, like what would you say was, one or two of the biggest like keys that, biggest difference makers like that separated you from like the rest of the pack?
I would say I know this is obviously like cliche, but I can't stand losing. Like I really like cannot stand losing. So I can't stand losing more than I love winning. So I just that my competing nature is very, very high. So I feel like that at a young age was always really, really like invested in me. And then I think what helped with also baseball, playing in doubles, like playing and being in that team sport atmosphere, and now helps in college. But yeah, like playing doubles, finding chemistry with my partner. I had a partner that I won Eddie Hur doubles 3 times with, twice, or sorry, it was twice, with Hugo Hashimoto. He now goes to Columbia, but we won Eddie Hur twice and Eddie Hur 16s doubles, and then also won KZoo together. But we always had a great like chemistry, and so I think that always was. I don't think I ever had like a problem with like meshing or with like a partner because of like chemistry, or always felt like got along with the people who I played with. So that was, I mean, I feel like if you're playing with someone who you're friends with, and you can share a laugh with, if something, I don't know, if you shank a forehand or you whiff or something like that, and you get a laugh out of it instead of being like, oh my gosh, like you can't believe you just missed that, then I feel like it can go a long way in your like success as a team. So yeah, that's like the main thing I would say. And then also, I mean, just being able to like have the coaches that I've had at such a young age. Graham Stillwell was one of my first coaches. He was from England. He was former 9 in the world. He passed away a couple of years ago. But he beat Laver, Vilas. I mean, he coached my dad, and then he coached me, and he was, I mean, he was very instrumental in my development.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow. Did you have, I know he's a great inspiration, but did you have any particular players or anyone like when you were really young that like kind of really got you into the sport, watching them?
Del Potro. I've always loved Del Potro. He was my guy. He was my guy. I'd say out of the big three, big four, it would be Rafa. I would say as my favorite out of those, but yeah, Del Potro has always been my guy. And I love my backhand. My forehand when I was younger was my weaker shot. Now they're the same, but yeah, I've always loved his competitiveness, his like desire to never give up. And I mean, I was sitting third row at when he came back 2 sets to love down against Team at grandstand on the grandstand court at the U.S. Open round of 16. I stayed the entire match, and he had the flu, and I saw him, and he came back, and he was down and out so many times in that match. I mean, the first 2 sets were like 6-1, 6-2 or something like that in like 50 minutes. And he ended up coming back, and it was like the greatest. I mean, in my opinion, it was one of the greatest comebacks ever, because the guy, I mean, he was bent over, like almost about to puke after every point. So I feel like that his competitive nature, I've tried to instill in me, and then obviously just his moxie of being like the guy, from Argentina. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely love him. Really feel bad about the injuries he sustained, but yeah, I mean about competitiveness, such a important trait. So I actually wrote an article. I think it's probably been like 5 or 6 years, since then, but 5-6 years since I written the article. But what I did was I emailed like 70 or so college coaches and asked them like what are the most important traits of successful college tennis players, and the number one trait was competitiveness. So there you go. Exactly what you were talking about. You mentioned that your backhand was your stronger shot. I'm curious, like what you did to improve your forehand to get it to the level that it is that your backhand is.
Yeah. So I mean, it was my forehand backswing was like, I mean, it was like I was hitting, reaching
Too
it to the
big.
moon. It was so far back. It was so far back, and my arm was like straight, and it was just
like
it was
Gulbis.
Yeah.
The old Gulbis.
Sorry.
Sorry. I was saying like the old Gulbis forehand.
Yeah. I mean, not that far, but yeah, like heading towards that direction. But yeah. But no, it would, I mean, it would break down. It would, not a lot. I didn't have a lot of confidence in it, and I could always hit the ball hard. But I just shank a lot. Wouldn't have the confidence to hit it in the big moments when not like I did with my backhand. But yeah, no, when I was training at the USTA, I before I got back into playing baseball, I was playing I remember, I think it was like a money tournament, and I felt something in my foot, and I ended up having went back to the USDA, got an MRI, and ended up having a stress fracture, or a high stress reaction in my fourth metatarsal, so my fourth toe. So it was a blessing in disguise, because I was hitting on a chair for about 3 months, 2 to 3 months. And I just hit thousands of forehands. And I was working with Eric Nunez down at the USTA, and I just hit, I mean, ball after ball. And I was like sitting on the chair and rotating and hitting and rotating and hitting, and working on like keeping my elbow in a good position and not having my arm straight. And ever since then, because it's tough when you're training and when you're playing matches to really have like a technical change, unless it's you're like only doing it for a couple weeks during preseason. But it's really difficult to have a technical change in your game. And that's for everybody. That's for any shot, like really. Yeah. I mean, you can work on it as much as you want, but doing that in like a high stress situation is very difficult. I feel like that's for almost every player. But yeah, no, what I did, I mean, just the repetition of hitting forehands after forehands and hitting cross, and the accepting the failure that it wasn't going to happen overnight, that it was going to be like months and months of working at it. I feel like, I mean, that really, like, ever since then was like a blessing in disguise, having that happen and being able to have that technical work. And ever since then, it's my forehands became a weapon in my eyes and improved dramatically.
Yeah, that's so funny how that all worked out with the injury, but that's really fantastic. Yeah. And you made me think about, I don't even know if you might be too young to remember this, but Thomas Muster, I think he got injured and he was like hitting forehands like on a chair.
Yeah, I heard about that story. Yeah, I heard about that story. How he was like in like a, I don't know, he maybe like broke his leg or something that, and he was like hitting on a chair, and yeah, that's pretty much. Because I couldn't put any weight on my foot, so I had to. So thankfully it was my left foot, so I didn't have to. I was just putting it on a pad and then just like having most of the weight on my right foot.
Right.
So yeah, it worked out, I would say.
Yeah, definitely, because you could at least like load the right side like you're supposed to, obviously. Yeah, very cool. And in terms of college, I know that's how did you choose like UNC? How did that come about? I guess you were recruited by a ton of different schools. I don't know if you want to like name all of them and then like the thought process. Yeah,
so I was recruited heavily my junior year by a lot of different schools, top schools, I would say. And UNC was always, a great option from the start. And it was always like it's so close. It's not, I mean, it's not close. It's about a 4.5 hour, 5 hour drive, but it's, it's such a great school. It's like driving distance. It's not, um, out in California where you have to, go 6 hour flight. And, I first thought I wanted to go somewhere in California. Cause that's, I mean, I just love like LA and, just the California scene, but yeah, no, I mean, UNC was always one of my top options from the beginning. And then, once I started playing baseball, it was trying to find a school that could like have me play both. And I know they're in the same season, so it would have been very difficult. But a couple of schools would have let me done that. Would have walked, like I would have walked on the baseball team, and then been on the tennis team as well. But yeah, no, during the recruiting process, it was very difficult to be like, I know my dad was talking with them as much as I was, and it was like, how are we going to find a way for him to play both? And that was always like the question. And it was like what I wanted to do. I wasn't like, I was holding firm on that, like with what I wanted to do, because I really thought I could do it. And I honestly, in my opinion, I really still think I could. But yeah, no, that was like the main question. Like, how are we what's the plan for him to do both? How does it work with fitness? How does it become like, a main thing in his day with class and stuff like that. But yeah, and back to UNC, I mean, just the coaches there were really great to me, like in during the recruiting process. And, I love them now, but, we always had good relationships from the first time we talked. And, Sam Paul's the head coach. Trip Phillips is the, associate head coach. And, we just got a new assistant, Rob Kelly, who played, who was an alum there, was All-American, played there, had a great career. But yeah, I mean, they were always a top option, and I guess I ended up just choosing them. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely one of the top schools, for tennis and just generally speaking. Yeah, and I was obviously doing some research, as I mentioned, and yeah, so Sam, he's been there for 31 years, right?
31 years, yeah. He is holding strong. He just signed a new extension as well. So he is there, and also one other thing, like we just got a new facility, a brand new.
Oh, wow.
Brand new, unbelievable. It's like $18 million facility.
Sick.
And I mean, it was getting built, I mean, for the last like 2 years, and it's beautiful. I mean, it is actually, it's the best facility in the country. And I mean, we've been so fortunate for all of our donors and all the people that have like supported us throughout the years, even before I went, and to be helping us now with our AD. Our AD Bubba Bubba Cunningham is very involved in our tennis program. I mean, our women's team is number one in the country. They just won the national championship, and we're obviously a top program as well. But getting that new facility was huge. I mean, it is an unbelievable facility. It's in my opinion, it's the best one. I know I'm biased, but I feel like anybody who has gone down there, who's seen it for the first time, is like, this is top notch. So with all of our donors, I mean, big props to them. But yeah, no, I mean, that was one of the main reasons I wanted to go there. I mean, the facilities, it's really something.
That's amazing, man. You reminded me of some days. I played at UMBC a while back, and we would have to like play indoors and like where they would play basketball. Some days when it like rained and it was an emergency, either that or we'd like go to like Owen Brown or something like that in Columbia. I don't know if you know that facility, but so just want to say that to let you know to really enjoy that, be grateful for it, because
I
didn't all get the
no, I definitely am. I mean,
yeah.
It's the first time I hit out on the courts, I was like my jaw dropped, like when I saw it for the first time. And our indoor, we have 6 indoor, and 3 and then like a common area where you can watch, and then 3 on the other side, and those
Nice.
indoor, and the walls got stripped down, and we got our courts resurfaced and everything, and new scoreboards on every court. It's unbelievable. And what's crazy is that that's phase 1 of the project. We're phase 2 is we're getting a team building, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a weight room in there with cold tub, hot tub, and our tennis facility is about 5 minutes away from the center of campus.
Nice.
So it's not on campus like a lot of the other schools. I mean, it's just one road, and you're pretty much there. But yeah, no, I mean, it's an unbelievable place. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Do you is it you drive 5 minutes or walk 5 minutes?
Drive.
Okay.
Yeah, if you walk, it'll take you a little bit longer, and getting back because campus is obviously Chapel Hill, but it's kind of up on a hill a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And going back would be a pain in the butt to walk up that hill. So yeah, it's about a 5-minute drive.
Gotcha. Congrats on that great facility and the what's to come as well. So with Sam being there for 31 years, more than that, what's maybe like one piece of advice that he's given you so far that has been really useful?
Commit. I'd say commit to your shots. He's been very, very adamant about. I mean, as a freshman, I didn't play singles for the first half of the year, and I was a little bit frustrated. I was working on my game, and I was only playing doubles, and I was working on my game, trying to get better. And he was just commit to your shots. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Commit to your shots. And that definitely helped me with the later parts of the season, with playing singles in the high crucial moments and late ACC matches, and playing against Duke, and winning against Duke, and I mean, that's probably been the one thing. Commit to your shots, and just, I mean, he's a spark plug. I mean, he may not seem like it, but he's a spark plug, and a lot of the times when I'm down on energy or late in the third set, he's always like bouncing around. I mean, he's a small guy, but he's definitely a big figure, and he definitely like pumps me up, and I mean, he's a great coach, and a great man also.
Yeah, wonderful to hear that. Yeah, that's such great advice. Commit. I mean, I found that even yesterday after you left, pulling back on certain shots and just thinking like, hey man, just swing and commit to it. Exactly. And well done on the Duke victory. I remember when we made NCAAs my senior year, we went to Duke and played them, and we did get destroyed, but tough school.
Yeah.
So and we're a small school.
Yeah, no, we'll play them again next year, and a couple of my good friends are on that team, so it's funny playing against them. But yeah, no, I mean, the main thing that he was talking about with committing was just like, I mean, so many times as a player, when you like lose and you look back and you're like, oh, I should have done this, should have done that. I mean, I've done that gazillions of times where I've been like, oh, if I would have went for that shot, if I would have played that shot a little bit differently. He's really put into my mind specifically to just go for it. I mean, there's really no sense having regrets and let's say pushing a ball instead of going for the shot, because you'd rather live with yourself if you miss it than going for it than not. At least in my opinion, that's what he has instilled in me. So,
yeah, no, that's fantastic. And looking at your match results and rosters and stuff, I found that it was really cool that you played doubles with Brian Cernock, who's played number 1 singles. It looked like.
He was. I played doubles with him. We made NCAAs. Yeah. That was really cool to do as a freshman. You got a little bit of a taste of what's to hopefully come in the next year. But yeah, no, I played doubles with him. I know he's from Rockville. He's from the town over.
Oh wow.
So he trained at JTCC, and I knew him. Obviously he was older when I was younger, like training there. I never like necessarily practiced with him, but I always like knew of him. We were friendly, but yeah, that was one of the reasons I went to UNC as well, to play on the same team with him, and he kind of took me under his wing in the fall, and we ended up playing doubles together in the spring. But yeah.
Nice. And obviously you've had like so much double success. I mean, singles too, obviously, but what about doubles like suit your game? Like, is that, I've seen a little bit of you playing, but not a ton. So, I mean, is it that you serve your hands? Like, what do you think it is that
yeah, I mean, just I love the energy in doubles. The energy is obviously when you I mean, the doubles only guys don't get enough respect with how much they work on their craft. I mean, look at Diminar and Sinner, who played in the final yesterday. I mean, they're hitting ground stroke after ground stroke, and the doubles guys are doing that same thing. They're working on their first volleys, they're working on their serve. I mean, when you play doubles, I mean, it doesn't matter how fast you hit the ball. I mean, it matters your placement, your angles, just the geometry of the court. And last year, our volunteer assistant was Reese Stalder, and he's now 73 in the world in doubles. Just won the Carey Challenger that I played in last week. And being able to learn from him, and also Tripp, who made semis of U.S. Open doubles and had a great career as well. But learning from them and on the doubles perspective, and covering the eye formation, and learning about different plays and stuff was like so beneficial to my my knowledge of how to play doubles, because many people play doubles, but they don't necessarily know how to move and play, if that makes sense. But yeah, with doubles, I mean, my volleys, I've always been a serving volleyer in singles and doubles, and my volleys are my strong suit. I feel like at a young age, that was one of the things that separated me, was I was able to come into the net and finish points at the net. And while these other guys were just staying in the backcourt for 3 hours and grinding. So I didn't necessarily want to do that. So I came into the net, but yeah, no, I mean, my volleys, my quick hands, yeah, I would say like those have helped me tremendously.
Awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed doubles. I used to pretty much never play until I went to college, but just like the quickness of it, the reactions, all the different plays you can call, eye formation, all that stuff. It's really, really fun. And yeah, I mean, so in terms of the difference between college tennis and the pro tour, because you've obviously, as we talked about a little bit, like you played the City Open qualies and you played some other pro tournaments as well. What would you say the difference is between the two?
The rowdiness. I mean, when we played against, I want to say it was, I mean, we played against some rowdy crowds, but my first really like actual duel, I mean, like we had a couple before, but my actual really thrown into the fire was at South Carolina, and that's one of our big rivals, and
sure.
And that was pretty much of an eye opening to what rowdy fans are. And I've gotten told by I remember like Oliver Crawford, who's a good buddy of mine. He was telling me about like the things that people say, and like when he was at Florida, and I mean, it's absolutely, it's no limits. And we got some of that throughout the season. But yeah, I mean, that was like one of the I'm here at playing college. I mean, when they're screaming in your face, like when you're about to serve and stuff like that. And umpires have done a better job, but they did a better job like throughout the year. So I know there was some controversy with other schools, but yeah, with the difference between that college and the pros, it's got to be the rowdiness. I mean, playing the Carey Challenger with my teammate Casey Kanya, we had a pretty rowdy crowd supporting us.
Nice.
even though it was a pretty loud crowd at that Cary Challenger. We played in the night both times. We had a great win first round, and we beat the, I think it was like 85th and 1/10th player in the world, 6-1, 6-2.
Wow.
So we came out firing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool, and we hadn't ever played together, so that was our coming out party. But yeah, no, I mean, with pros, it's very like playing the City Open was. I mean, I had my friends come and support me, family, and they were getting loud, but it's very like it's very mellow
Proper.
compared to it's very proper compared to, that's a good word, to compared to college. I mean, there's really no limits in college. I mean, it's I've always been a player who likes to play like in front of the stands. Like I'll request like, stadium court or center court when I was younger. Nice. to try to play in front of as many people as possible. But yeah, no, I feel like I've strived in that, and then so I don't think college was necessarily a big issue.
Yeah, no, very good stuff. Yeah, I remember playing at Yale Invitational, just like the fall, team tournament stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then like there's one guy who was all in my ear, and he was saying like, "Oh, my grandmother plays better than you" and stuff. But I haven't played. Yeah, it was funny.
We've heard some stuff like that.
Oh, I'm sure like much worse, expletives and stuff. I think I got off easy. But yeah, no, very cool. And so, when we talk about that element, obviously, some players struggle more with it than others. So how do you deal with that? I guess refocusing may be the key, but yeah, like what do you do when people are in your ear like that?
Yeah, so there was one match we played against Illinois, and I was only playing doubles, and it was indoors it was at a home match, and I remember I double faulted a couple times. We ended up winning the set 7-6, but I double faulted a couple times, and they were like right on top of me, and they were just doing their chants and like screaming. And I remember that one moment, like thinking to myself, like, not even like block it out, just like don't even listen, like don't even like. I mean, they're going to be talking, whatever, just focus on like the next serve. And that was always like the main thing that our coaches instilled in us, to just focus on the next point, like go to the next point, go to your towel, go to your partner. And I remember in that moment, I was like, just hit the next serve. And I remember I aced the guy on the next point. And I kind of like looked up there, like, did you see that? And then they kind of stopped for a second, and then they went back out with their chants. But yeah, I mean, being able to deal with it, being able to have a clear mind. I mean, there are many times like during the year I was like, it felt like it was a lot, with especially at away matches, with them like screaming, or going something crazy. And we played Duke and NC State, and Wake at home. So next year will be definitely a challenge, because I know obviously those three are the big rival matches, and those will be definitely definitely a challenge with their fans, and being able to stay focused. But being able to stay focused is difficult, because you're worried about other courts, and you're also worried about your own court. And I've always had, like, during the year, I would always look at like our scoreboard, or I would even like my dad would be watching and be like, or like my teammate would be like, what's the score on right. Segerman's court, who was my teammate, and I'd just be like, I want to know. Like there are some people who don't want to know. I want to know. I want to know what's going on. And the one match that I had no idea, I didn't ask one time, I ended up winning, and that was against Duke, and I won that match to tie the match at 2. And yeah, I mean, being able to stay focused has, like, throughout my life has always been a challenge, with not looking around, looking at my dad, looking at coaches or whoever's watching, trying to stay inside the court. And going through your routines has always been like a challenge for me. I've gotten better at it over the years, but I mean, I feel like doing that in college, it's a little bit of a challenge, even more, because there's so much other things going on. Like you're not like when it's pros, you're worried about your result only.
Yeah.
And let's say you're a set in 5-0 serving, like the match might have already finished and you're done. So like it's almost sometimes a race to the finish. But also like being able to lock in that moment, being like, oh, maybe that guy will, choke, or his match will go a little longer, and you're not going to finish in the next 30 seconds. So being able to stay focused is a challenge in college.
Yeah, definitely is. And kind of reminds me of there's a video clip. I'm trying to remember who posted it, but it was of Novak Djokovic being interviewed, and he said, it's like totally normal, like even for him to lose focus, but the key is just to accept it and then like refocus. So it sounds like you're doing a great job about that. So in terms of like goal setting, and obviously I'm not, sure like your process for that, but have you set any particular goals for this season? Is it more just like, try my best and train as hard as possible and see what happens?
I mean, I want to win NCAAs and singles and doubles. I mean, that's obviously the main goal for everybody. But I mean, I in my opinion, I feel like I can do it. I really have confidence in myself to do it. I put in the work, and during this summer, I've lost 20 pounds, and
wow,
I've really
20.
like worked on 20, and worked on my fitness level and my tennis, and I was like I was talking with my coaches, and I want to, I was talking with Tripp, and, because I was down there for 4 weeks in the beginning of the summer, and then went to go play a couple tournaments. Then I've been back here, and I'm like, just watch, like, just wait and see, you'll see like what's coming. And, having that competitiveness to like, beat out my teammates. And obviously we're on the same team. We're obviously trying for the same goal. But I want to win the team championship, and I want to be an All-American in singles and doubles. And I really feel like we're going to have the team next year to do it. And we lost our number one and number two last year. But I mean, I feel like the team that we have now is really good and really strong. And I'll be looking to go out to get after it, especially in the fall. In the fall last year, it was a challenge going back to regular school. The regular school from until high school, when I did online. Right. But having that adjustment, going to class, and then practicing as much as I did in the fall, because I've always been a player that has not needed to practice for 6 hours a day. I'm more quality, get in, get out, because I just can't do it. I can't be out there for 6 hours, hitting cross court down the lines. For me anyway, I just can't do it. My head will explode. So I'll just be needing to do something else. But
Sure.
I've always been somebody who's like get out mentality, quality over quantity. And I had a couple difficult practices. Yeah, for like last year, it was kind of like not every other day, but it was like some practices per week. I was like, this is a lot. This is whether I had a test that day or something happened or whatever it was. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I feel like this next year, like in the fall, it's get after it time and do all the extra work necessary. And I'm not necessarily a freshman anymore. I'm not a freshman anymore. So, being able to have that experience under my belt, and everybody said last year, like, when I lost a couple tight matches, you don't have to worry about it, because like those experience results will come. And I'm hopeful. I'm confident that they will lean my way this next year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if all your teammates have the great attitude that you have, then I'm sure you are going to achieve huge things. And you made a great point about like the quality over quantity. I mean, that made me think about Craig O'Shaughnessy, who I've also interviewed, and he talks a lot about the first 4 shots, and that you shouldn't be just hitting cross score down the line for like hours and hours. You want to really concentrate on the serve +1, return +1 the most, and especially with like your type of game. I don't think that obviously wouldn't help you a ton to be doing a lot of that stuff. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm curious about doubles, the format, because I think when I played, it was pro sets, and then now it's like just one set. I mean, I don't know. Would you prefer it to be like, longer, or do you think, because it seems like if you bad start and you're really screwed.
Yeah, no, a couple times, like last year, it was especially early in the year. Like I remember at South Carolina, I got broken first game, and we lost set 6-4, and it was just like that. We were, that was it. And that was, I was saying to myself, oh, I'm ready to play. And then I come out and, double fault once, and I'm a little nervous, playing in that such big of a crowd, and
Sure.
You're down 1-0, and they're getting after it. And then you lose the set 6-4, and you're done. And so it's like, it's crazy. Like we again played against Duke, had a bad doubles first game, and got broken, come out, and you're done, and we lost in like 15 minutes, and it was like, it was just so quick. But in regards to being, I like it how it is.
Okay.
It is definitely a challenge because you have to be so ready to go. Like you can't have a lapse for any point of the set, because you're, like we lost the first set, last week, and you just have to win one set in a tiebreaker. You literally just have to win one set in a tiebreaker to win the match. And you only have to win one set, and it's only one set in college. So for me personally, I like it. I know a lot of people who don't. A couple of my teammates don't. And because it's so quick, and but I like it for like the overall match, for like the fan perspective, and it's just more exciting. It's more exciting. It's so because fans, they like and we have good crowds at our matches, but they like the action. They like the action. I'm not saying singles doesn't have action, but it's like, it's boom, 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 in doubles, and especially in college. So I like it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Glad you like it, and that you're doing well as well. So earlier you mentioned, just how like you're basically, competing and trying to be the best, on your team, and in the nation, obviously, in the world eventually. How difficult is it? Because I remember, when I played, and just like trying to compete for that, for those spots, in the starting lineup, and some people have to end up, being on a bench, which I was, one year, and so yeah. How is that? Difficult. I'm sure that you have a great rapport with your teammates, but does that ever bring about any like tensions or anything like that?
You're always rooting. You're always rooting for the guys, on the team. But actually, one thing that happened to me, I was playing singles, and we played NC State, and we had match points in doubles, and for the team point, and we ended up losing that, and I was going to play 6 singles. And my coach ended up taking me out because we lost the doubles, and he wanted in more of an experienced guy, and I didn't understand the in the moment, like, why he was doing that, because we were playing outdoors, but it was about to rain, and we were about to go indoors, and the guy that he was putting out there is more of a grinder. Unbelievable competitor, will do anything for the school, for the team, anything. And I understand why you put him out there, but he, as soon as he told me that it was that he apologized because it was such a late in the moment change of direction with the lineup, and I was a little confused, like, of why I wasn't playing, and I kind of I had that one time, like, teammate, I was like, I was like, man, like I really should be out there. And I like wasn't as cheering as loudly as I could have been. And like, I like apologized afterwards, for not, because I was just so like in my head of like, why aren't I playing? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Instead of like being such for the team and like, supporting them like as much as I could have in any match. But yeah, no, there's never really like tension in regards to teammates. I mean, you want what's best for the guys. Like, me and my man and I, Will Jansen, who's from England, and he came in the spring, and we were the two freshmen, the two young kids, and we had a really, really old team. Like, we're having another old team this year, and we had a really, really old team last year, and we came in and played right away. So I don't know if that really, like, I know like a couple of seniors or a couple of juniors and upperclassmen didn't get to play. And I don't know if that was, I mean, I'm sure they're more experienced and they could probably tell you we wanted what's best for the team, but I know also like they wanted to play. So I don't know if that was like if that's like a big thing of like, oh, the freshmen are playing, oh, like the sophomores are playing. But at the end of the day, I really think it's like, if you can put your best guys out there, why wouldn't you? So, I feel like, in regards to tension, I don't think there's much of that, but I could definitely see on like some teams, not with us, where we all have like great chemistry, and there really wasn't any drama on our team the entire year,
Awesome.
except for like a couple of like other things and like injuries and stuff like that. But I don't think there's really like tension in regards to in the moment with your teammates. I really just think like you want what's best for them, and you want, I mean, overall you're playing as a team, you're playing for your school, so you want to win badly any way you can. And if I would have sat out the whole year and we would have won the national championship, I would have been even more happy than I am right now. I mean, it's all for the end goal.
Yeah. Really love to hear that, especially the end. And yeah, it's just, part of adversity in life. If you're not on the starting lineup, you just got to work hard and see if maybe you get an opportunity.
Yeah. Gives you motivation. Like, I remember having a conversation with my assistant coach, like, what do I need to do to be out there? And I talked to him during the year, and I was like, I in my opinion, I felt like I should have been out there from the beginning. And he told me what I needed to do. And then, the next weekend when we went on the road, I was playing my first singles match, and I clinched the match. So, I mean, it kind of came full circle there of, getting the opportunity. And I felt like last year I made the most of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well done. And so we've all heard of the freshman 15, but I haven't really heard of the -20 summer transition to sophomore routine. I mean, I'm really curious about that. I mean, that's first of all, big kudos. And maybe if you could get into some detail in terms of like what you did, diet wise, I'm assuming, and then like fitness, like what did you do? That's really, really quite a turnaround there.
Yeah, no, I mean, like during the like last year in the fall, I was, I was, coming back to my dorm from like tutors at 9:30, and I was eating late at night, and I was just like I had a really busy schedule. Like, I had meetings during like at like 12:30 to 1:30 before practice, and didn't really have any time for lunch. So I like kept eating during the night, and obviously in college it's like you have your dining halls, and our dining hall was the best on campus. So I didn't necessarily stop, which was a pretty bad thing. And I remember my mom will hold this against me like till the day I die. It will be I sent her with the first time the dining hall was open, like a couple days before school. I sent her a picture. It was like at like 10:30, and I sent her a picture with a cheesecake on my plate, and with my buddy, my hallmate, having like eggs and whatever, he had fruit or whatever, and I had like this like small little cheesecake, and she like was beside herself. Like, he's eating cheesecake at the dining hall his first day there, and it was like, and I was just like, I was more like, oh, there's cheesecake in the dining hall, like I'm not gonna pass that opportunity up. So she will hold that against me. But yeah, I mean, in the spring I mean, we were having like a lot of our meals paid because of like, during match days and dinners and stuff like that and traveling.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, my end of season physical, I was at the weight where I didn't necessarily want to be at, and shirts weren't fitting as they should have been, and I really thought this summer was going to be huge for me. I talking with my coaches and doing the best things I needed to do to be play pro tennis and go far in this next year and losing. I still want to lose 10 more. Losing that weight has been big and putting on, and now I just got to put on more muscle and get stronger and being able to last as long as I need to without getting tired. So in regards to diet, I just I started eating less. I didn't have the bread or the bread with the pasta and the couple extra things of chips or whatever at a Mexican restaurant and just being smart, portion control, and just working out a ton. I mean, it's been pretty cool to see like how the weight has just come off and got 10 more to go. So yeah.
Nice. Well done. And then in terms of your just like a typical like day of training in the summer, I'm curious, like, is it pretty consistent? And then if so, what usually is it like?
At school or at home?
Oh, so actually at home. Yeah.
At home. So yeah. So at home, I'll usually hit whenever I can with somebody, like whenever they're available, or I'll hit with Scott, who you met. Who I hit with, who hits a great ball, and he helped me at the City Open, and I hit with him a ton, and whoever like other players are around the area, I'll hit with, and so I'll work out in the mornings, or I'll work out right after I play, and then usually the afternoons are recovery, rest, like relax, hang out with friends, and just, because obviously this summer, you're getting after it. But like I said about the quality and quantity, you're doing your stuff and then you're clear your mind. I mean, I would not, I tell you right now, I would not be able to play tennis for 6 hours a day and like talk about tennis for 6 hours. I just couldn't do it. I have to do other things, when I was in the summer during Chapel Hill, I played golf like four times a week. I mean, I was just training in the morning, working out at 9, hitting at 11, and then golf with my teammates in the afternoon. And that was pretty much the routine to relax and you're still getting exercise, but to clear your mind and just do something different. I mean, during the year, you're so, I mean, as you know, you're so invested in your time is so time management is so crazy in college. I mean, I mean, you look up and you're done with your 3 classes in the morning, you go to practice and it's already 7:00 at night. And then you eat dinner, and then you have your tutors or whatever that help you, or you have your homework, and you're, next thing you know, you wake up and then you're going to bed. It's crazy. So, being able to relax, after you do your workouts, is a big thing. And I've always like I said, with quality, and I've always tried to exert my energy as best I can on the court, and then in the gym, and then rest and relax and recover and do it again the next day. So that's pretty much what I've been doing during the summer.
Good stuff, Benjamin. And then now, so we'll shift in terms of in school. I'm curious, how much you're, and also I guess the differences in how much you're training in the gym versus agility work and stuff like that. Just so excluding the tennis training part of it, how much are you, and what's the partitioning of gym, agility, cross training, whatever. And I guess I have to ask too, maybe we'll go with like off season, because I know it's different, like, in season, off season.
Yeah. So for in season, I mean, we work out every day. We lift about 3 to 4 times a week. And we have our, also our like conditioning sessions as well. The main thing I would say with college, and we have a new strength coach this year. And
Nice.
we had one last year that it was with he worked with us and us basketball and field hockey. And field hockey ended up winning the national championship. Basketball had a down year, but obviously like the same type of movement sport that we are. And I know a lot of strength coaches work with like at different schools. There are a lot of basketball, tennis, because they're a lot of the same movements with shuffling and stuff like that. But I'd say the main thing that I was a little bit surprised of was the we don't do a lot of like on court work, like when I trained in Argentina, it was very, or even in like, Tampa or Saddlebrook or whatever, you're doing your like cone work on court, your resistance bands and stuff like that. I feel like hopefully next year we'll be doing a lot more of that. Cause you got to get those quick movements. And those, obviously you have to be, your lungs have to be well maintained, but doing those quick movements that the quick reflex is big. So hopefully we can do more of that and that agility work. I mean, I that was one of the things when I talked with Tripp, my assistant coach, that I needed to do was to get in better shape during the year. And I started doing agility work. 10 to 15 minutes more, before practice, after practice, trying to get that, running in the mornings and, before I went to class or, lifting, maybe getting another lift in at night, with my hallmate and,
nice.
Just doing like the little things, I'd say, like the mobility programs. Cause you have the really, really good, our athletic trainer he's the absolute best. He has really, really like helped us and helped me. He has been the bomb. He's been awesome. And on that side of it is well covered. And in regards to like off season training, trying to, everybody's different. Like, people, I'm more like built than a couple of my other teammates who maybe want to bulk up and they want to lift more weights. I want to do more conditioning and agility work. So it's all different, and it's all at UNC. We all have catered to us, and
Nice.
like I could also like get lifting programs from outside sources from whether it's with Saddlebrook or Argentina, like the fitness trainers there, they can send me plans and I can do it.
Nice.
So it's pretty, there's a little bit of leeway there.
Yeah, that's awesome. The individuality. I felt like it was a little bit, maybe slightly too much templated for, where like we were all treated kind of the same. Whereas with you, it's like each individual, which is great. And then kind of just a couple like technical and strategic questions. So I'm curious, because the serve is obviously the most important, arguably with the return, parts of the game. So did you ever make any technical changes that you can remember that like made a big difference in your serve?
Yeah. So when I was young, I always used to like bring my arm all the way down and then as I wanted to get more MPHs and then I started to do a modified Roddick serve. So I like Burdick, if you remember his serve, like it was just more here and I would turn and like I wouldn't go all the way around. It would just be boom, boom. And then I went back to the, the arm down and I, tried during last summer because what platform is like your 2 feet, right?
Yeah, just stay there. Yeah, you don't bring it up.
Right. So I've done platform my entire life, and I tweaked with doing the step up last
pinpoint,
summer. And pinpoint, and I just couldn't do it. Like I tried, and I could like only hit the flat serve. I mean, I couldn't hit the slice serve, and I tried that during the year and like during the fall a little bit. And I remember we were at All Americans in the fall, and that was the first match, and I like lost first set, and I like was like, screw this, I'm not doing this. Went back to, probably shouldn't have done that in the moment, but I went back to platform and served that the rest of the year. But that was like the main things. A couple of big changes with my arm, and I've been fortunate enough to work with Mark Kovacs.
He's so good. I've had him on the show like 10 times.
Oh, really? Yeah. No, he's awesome. I worked with him when I was younger, and I went to go see him actually like a month ago, and he's helped me multiple. I mean, I've maybe seen him like 6-7 times, and he's been obviously with his background in biomechanics and all his like different serve ways to strengthen your arm, and I still do his exercises 3 times a day that he gave me a month ago. So he's been helped me tremendously. So I've been able to fortunate enough to work with those like top names to help me on my serve, and I did during winter break last year I worked with I had a 2-week training block with Mike Bryan down in Tampa, and he helped me and with my serve as well. So having I kind of have the fortunate enough to have the best of the best with helping me with my serve, but yeah, no, technical changes have just been more the arm, like going different positions with the arm, the elbow, keeping it down, and then I tried doing the pinpoint. It didn't work out. It didn't work out.
Gotcha. Was there any particular reason that you wanted to try the pinpoint? Did you think maybe you'd get more elevation or something?
Yeah, so it was for the serve and volley. So it was getting that momentum going forward, and I was working with Junior Orr, who's actually from the area.
Had him on the podcast too. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah, Junior.
Yeah, well back.
I talked to Junior yesterday.
Nice.
And or 2 days ago, and Junior, I played a couple doubles with Junior, and Junior has coached me a lot, and we did the training block last summer, and his serve is a pinpoint, and it just we're tweaking with it, and it at first was very, very good, but it just it couldn't be sustained. But yeah, it was because he's a serve and volleyer, and when he played at A&M, he was serving and volleying, and being successful, the doubles career that he had. But yeah, no, he was we were just tweaking with it, and it felt good, but it just couldn't be sustained. But we were doing it for me, like serving and volleying.
Cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's funny. I remember so Junior used to play at Aspen Hill Club, where I used to play for a while, and I remember when I was like 16 or 17 and he was like maybe 10, and I looked at his court, and he was like beating up on some like 38-year-old guy, 10-year-old. I'm like, geez, man, this kid's going to be good. So really cool to see him.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, for sure. So you obviously seem like a pretty intelligent guy, Benjamin. Are there any favorite tennis books that you maybe have read that you've enjoyed?
I might have it. I read. Oh yeah, actually, it's here. I read The Inner Game of Tennis.
Yeah.
I actually keep it in my bag. I read it a little while ago. But I haven't. I've read like Rafa's autobiography, and I think it was like James Blake's, I want to say.
Cool.
But I read them. But I haven't really read that many books in tennis, honestly.
No, that's cool. I mean, Inner Game is great, and that's really cool that you keep it in your bag to just like kind of reread and whatnot. Actually, yeah, maybe to jump back to City Open real quick as well. Did you say that was your second time playing in it in qualifying?
Yeah. No, that was my second time playing. Yes. Okay,
got it. So yeah, I guess what was kind of the experience there? I mean, playing in ATP 500 tournament, like, was it, were you nervous, or were you used to it? I mean, any just like thoughts about how that went for you?
Yeah, so I mean, unfortunately I ended up losing, but I mean, both times were great experience. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's like the US Open when I played it for the first time in juniors, after winning Keizu when I was 16. I played, US Open juniors, and I've been to the US Open every year, pretty much. And being able to practice with players there, and then same with City Open, like going every year and then being able to play it, it's like pretty surreal. Cause you're not hanging out there anymore. You're like, I remember when I played, US Open, it was like, I remember we were last on maybe like Wednesday or something like that. And I was there for a lot of the week, like training and stuff like that. And then, as soon as it got to like Monday of that next week, when, people started rolling in and stuff like that, it was like, we weren't there watching matches anymore. It was, you're practicing, then you go back to the hotel, you go back to the city. So that was like pretty like a surreal moment, playing in the City Open for the second time. And, it was a packed crowd both times I played. And I mean, it was a great experience. And hopefully, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be able to get a wild card into that. And hopefully I'll be able to play, and hopefully I won't need a wild card in the coming years, but hopefully, if I do, I'll be able to play again. And, Mark Ein, really helped me with that. And, he's been very helpful, to me, as well. But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to play that and other pro tournaments as well. And yeah, no, it was a great experience.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Mark's been doing a great job, with the tournament, building it up, and I guess we got a new sponsor now and whatnot. In terms of, and I know I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit, but you mentioned the training block with, did you say it was one of the brothers or both of them?
So in winter break, it was Mike, but I've been fortunate enough to be family friends with them,
nice.
for pretty much my whole life. And Wayne, their dad, actually made me a righty. So I could hit both, wow. Yeah, I could hit both ways, pretty equally, when I was really, really young. And he made me a righty. So gotta thank him for that.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And so my question about them is, Mike, I guess, is like when you trained with him, what did you take away from that? Either that or any piece of advice that he had told you that was really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember. I mean, I've known them for so long, and then being able, like, it was always, practicing them with a young age. It was like, this is so cool. But like, as soon as I got to be like better, and like I was able to like maintain the level, and it was like not just like a hit, it was like an actual like practice, and like trying to get better too. And when he coached me during that winter break session, and I mean, just like his overall knowledge of like the game, and like his like, I mean, he still hits an unbelievable ball. I mean, they could be top 10 in the world right now if they wanted to. I mean, it's unbelievable. But yeah, no, I mean, his overall knowledge of the game, like, and just his movements, like the way he like reads and anticipates, because tennis is more about anticipation as anything. And his being able to like move when to poach, and how to step to the volley and then recover. His first step after serving, getting from point A to point B. But I mean, I remember I played golf with him like twice when I was down there, and just like the stories that he would say, just like picking his brain about like technique on the backhand volley. And then all of a sudden we're putting for birdie, and then we're talking about totally something else, where they like talking about a match and like where he played in Australia like years and years ago, and I mean, just like picking his brain, just to try to put his, I mean, obviously you can't, but try to put his experiences and so that I can like learn from it, and hopefully take them into and use them for mine.
Yeah, it's such a smart thing that you did there. Just like trying to get information that you could use, from top level people there, craft in your craft, especially. Maybe one other strategy question. I'm curious. The return is something that in doubles, especially, that you really got to, nail down and can be very tough. And sometimes people can be intimidated by it. So any advice on kind of the mentality or strategic, advice on the return?
Go for the shot. Like, I would say one thing would be go for the shot. Like, you don't want to be like, not necessarily like in singles, you can, put the ball back in the middle of the court, but in doubles, you can't put the ball back in the middle of the court. But what I've, recently, the last couple of weeks, like when I was, I practiced with a lot of doubles guys at the City Open, practiced with Juan Sebastian Cabal and a couple of others, and they were all, saying, and Rohan Bopana has been a great friend of ours for a while as well. Practiced with him many times, and he'll be going down to Winston-Salem, and I'll be able to practice with him down there. But yeah, I mean, the lob return is the most underrated shot, especially in doubles. I mean, the guys who we played first round last week, they top 100 guys, they didn't know what hit them. It was mixing up the returns, and they were so confused about what to do with the lob. I would lob after going for a shot, and you would think like, oh, they're gonna, I'm gonna hit the next return, try to get it even better, go for the lob. We both rush into the net. We're two big bodies at the net, and you really can't do much. Like, it's tough to pass. You can't really pass, like, if you're both at the back and the other team's at the net. You can't really pass with like going like in the alleys. It's really down the middle or hitting it low at their feet and then going. But on the return, what I've also learned is low base. You have to have your center of gravity. I think one person who does it incredibly well, and obviously Djokovic, greatest returner, Murray, greatest returner of all time, and Tsitsipas. Say what you want with him, but his eyes are like, he is just like, if you look at him, he's like doing this, and then he's like trying to return, but he's so locked in and he's so focused, and his base is so wide. I tried to do that in the first round, and it worked out. And I've played more of the ad side in my life. That was the first time I had played the deuce side last week, and that was the first time I played the deuce side in a long time. So I played that, and just like keeping the base low, and lob returns are, a lot of people don't know what to do with it, because you're expecting a ball here to knock off, and when you go lob, you have to go back and hit an overhead, or you have to call switch and then go to the other side, and the other team can rush in. So I'd say the lob return is very instrumental.
Yeah, it's great advice. Actually, I remember there's one game I played with my partner yesterday after you left, and we hit like 3 lob returns. They hit big serves, but one of them, like, they both were confused, and like, I don't know, it was just like a lob winner, and then the other one we ended up winning all 3 points, and it just was interesting, how you can just neutralize even a big serve by just like lobbing.
Yeah, it changes the look that you're also giving, like, to, you're not playing one dimensional, whether it's even in singles, blocking a return, a return and chipping it, and necessarily maybe you don't play you play a guy who doesn't necessarily want to come into the net, and who, maybe you bring him in once in a while off the return, and he's like, behind the baseline usually after he hits the serve, and now he has to, react and come forward. So, I think also the block return, whether it's like chipped or whatever, with it's a lob, it's a great play.
Yeah, definitely, Benjamin. Definitely. Really been enjoying talking with you. Time flies for sure. And wanted to ask, where can people, follow you? I don't know if there's any like social accounts or anything else you want to shout out for us to check out.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I'm pretty sure my account's like benj.kittay, Kittay. So that's my Instagram, and yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So yeah, you've given us a lot of great advice today, but I always end my interviews with this one question, which is, what is one key tip that you can give our audience to help them improve their tennis games?
Um, I'd say being able to accept failure. That was one thing that was huge for me in baseball, because the best hitters right now, like Ronald Acuna, who's like probably going to be the MVP this year in the NL, and he's batting like, I'm pretty sure like 320, and so he's getting a hit a little bit over three every 10 times. And that other 7 times he's failing, like he's getting out or whatever. And that's the same thing with tennis. Like, let's say being able to bounce back after you lose a tough point or a tough game or even a tough match. Like, there's been plenty of times where I've had a streak, I've lost a couple matches, and then something clicks, and you're back at it. But you have to accept your losses and try to learn from as best you can.
Yeah, really wise words from Benjamin there. Resilience there. So, Benjamin, thanks so much for coming on the show. It was really nice to meet you and get to know you, and a lot of great advice, like I said, from you. So, a very wise young man you are. So, congrats.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me on the show. I enjoyed it.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Really looking forward to following you and your progress and journey upward. So thanks, Benjamin, for coming on the show, and hope to chat with you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. I hope that you really enjoyed my interview with Benjamin Kittay. And Benjamin, thanks again for coming on to the show. Best of luck with your college tennis and then upcoming Pro Tour career. I'm sure you'll do great there as well. If you got value from this interview, then I would really appreciate it if you would leave a review for the Tennis Files podcast, and you can do that in Apple Podcasts at tennisfiles.com/Apple Podcasts, or you can leave a review in your podcast app of choice that you use to listen to the show. We just find that Apple Podcasts is the biggest mover of the show in terms of making it more visible to more people and the rankings and all that stuff. But either way, would really enjoy your feedback. And also want to leave you with a quote, as I do at the end of every show. And this one is by Thomas Jefferson. And Thomas said, "If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done." Definitely makes a lot of sense. Very powerful quote there. All right. Well, with that, I want to thank you for listening to the show. Also, one interesting tidbit before I leave you. I think you remember how I mentioned that our 5-0 men's tennis team that I captain got a very narrow second place in sectionals. Well, it was interesting that the number one team there, obviously won at Richmond. It turned out that they couldn't field a team to go to nationals. So I got pretty excited because we got word about that and that we would get the bid to go. Turns out, though, unfortunately, that it seems like we don't have enough players ourselves to be able to go. It's got some of the guys who just have some other stuff, other priorities, and so that kind of is unfortunate. But on the other hand, because we're not going to go, most likely that means that we won't have to break up our team. If you go to nationals, then you can only have 3 of the same team members on that team the following year. So if we don't go, we could at least run it back again, hopefully win sectionals, and then get into it straight up. And I will seek the advice of my colleague Tomas and tell the team to block out nationals next time. All right, well, that's all for today. Thought maybe you'd find that interesting. But with that, thanks so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you at the next episode of the Tennis Files podcast. This is your host, Mirban Aranshad, signing out.